Eileen Bell for 6:30 CHED, Alberta's information superstation. Snuggling by the fire.
Coming up to 8:36 now, 6:30 CHED Sports Time. Larry Barris.
Ed Ponovinsky gets onto the medal podium today.
From our town.
Absolutely. Learned how to ski at Rainbow Valley.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And now he placed third in the World Cup downhill race at Bormio, Italy today.
Got beat up a couple of years ago. Pretty bad injuries, right? And he's...
yeah, that was a big crash.
Long road back.
Yeah.
Good to see
he
him
and
back
Brian Stemmel both in the same year. Stemmel raced today, was in the top 30, which is a good result for him, too. So good to see our Canadian guys starting to come around on the World Cup ski circuit.
It's 20 before 9 right now.
Hey, you know how I love Sorrento Sorrentino's Italian restaurants?
Sponsored by ITV, the Edmonton Journal, and 6:30 CHED.
CHED satellite weather, sunshine in the forecast today with some late afternoon cloud. Nice morning out there right now with some scattered cloud, a light southwest breeze, -6 degrees at 6:30 CHED.
6:30 CHED presents The Ron Collister Show, the radio talk show where you can speak up and be heard. Call us in Edmonton at 496-0063. Anywhere else, it's a toll-free call at 1-800-663-0630. On your cellular, it's also a free call at star 630. Now, here's your host, Ron Collister, on 630 CHED, Alberta's information superstation.
Okay, and good morning, and welcome to the first day of the rest of my life. Today's the day, a special day in my life, if not necessarily in yours. My final daily talk show at 6:30 CHED. Strange things are going on around the radio station, and I presume they're somehow related to this event. But I'll discover the mysteries as you discover them as we move through the show today. This, bluntly, I suspect, is a kind of electronic surprise party, and you're all invited. And let's get started. Joining me in the studio right now is Doug Rutherford, president of 6:30 CHED, and on the line from Vancouver, where I hope the rain has stopped and the weather is better, is Ted Smith, president of the radio division of WIC, which owns 6:30 CHED. Good morning to you both.
Well, good morning, Ron. How are you?
I'm going to turn your mic on. Fancy me making a mistake like that on my last day. Go ahead.
At least you didn't say CJCA.
Good morning to you. Ted, are you there?
Yeah, I am, Ron, and good morning to you. And it's you're wrong. It is still raining in Vancouver, and it's still dark here too.
Well, as you're the big boss, I'm going to let you kick off. What is it you want to say?
Well, Ron, I'm delighted to be part of the program with you today. I understand from what's going on that I'd be having a lot more fun if I was there in Edmonton. At least it's sunny as well.
Yeah.
And Ron, your career has been an outstanding one, and as I'm sure the people in Edmonton are well aware of. And I got to tell you, when we made the decision to purchase CHED back in 92, it was losing a lot of money, in excess of $2 million, and AM radio generally was not doing well in North America. So it was quite a gamble and a risk for us to do that, but Doug Rutherford and I felt that we could assemble the right group of people and turn it around. And not only did we turn it around, but we went from last place to first place in a record period of time. It was under a year. Mm-hmm. And that has to be the turnaround of the decade in Canadian radio. And Ron, you were a key part of that turnaround. The contribution that you made to the success of CHED has been really outstanding, and it's very much appreciated. I want to thank you on behalf of our board of directors and on behalf of the thousands of shareholders in our company for the contribution you've made, and we're going to miss you.
Well, thank you very much. I noticed that, I recall at the reception launching the station, that you turned to Rutherford and said to him, "How much did all this cost you?" Well, all I can say is it wasn't enough.
And you know what? I still haven't told him. Some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's Doug, of course. I think Doug has something to say.
Well, I must say that Ted's right. When we took over CHED, our decision to take it to a full-service format was indeed a difficult one because we knew the costs involved. There's no more expensive a format in broadcasting than what we do here at CHED and at other stations in our company, CKNW in Vancouver and CJOB in Winnipeg, and now AM 640 in Toronto. So we knew that we were in for a pretty long haul, but Ted's right. We had to assemble the right people, and Ron and I began meeting at the high-level diner, if you recall.
We're all plots ahead.
That's right. That was in late August of 1993. I was able to announce the format change on September 7th, and the only person I could announce as part of that format change was that you were joining us.
But I wasn't free legally to join you.
Until December 1, which is why we didn't launch our new format until December 1st of 1993, because that's when you were available. Mm-hmm. And you created the foundation for which we could build a radio station. There was you, and then we added Bill Matheson. We added some other people that became outstanding performers in Edmonton. Gord Whitehead and Chris Burkholder in the morning, and Brian Hall, who was the last addition to that group. And you added the credibility, and you gave us the foundation for which we could build. And I've got to say that since CHED launched its format in December 1st of 1993, ratings have gone up 525%.
Oh my gosh!
And you were a big part of that, and I'm so proud that you decided to come over and share 2 years with us. And we wish it could be more, but you've made some decisions that deal, personally with what Ron Collister wants to do in the next few years, and I'm delighted with that. And I hope that when you come back from your vacation, I know you and Mary are planning to head down south for several weeks, that you hopefully can come back and do some things on CHED. We'd be delighted to have you.
Okay.
And Ted, while you're on the phone, I should say that I've got a proclamation here that the city of Edmonton has decided to bestow upon Ron Collister, and I'd just like to read it on behalf of the Mayor of Edmonton. Proclamation, whereas Ron Collister, respected journalist and well-known Edmonton voice, is stepping back from the microphone at 630 CHED, and whereas our airways will lose much appreciated vibrations today when Mr. Collister closes the studio door for the final time, and whereas we trust our city's name will continue to be on the lips of an Edmontonian whose esteem reaches far beyond our borders, Australia perhaps, as seen by a much-deserved Order of Canada. Therefore, I, Mayor Bill Smith, do hereby proclaim Mr. Ron Collister an honorary ambassador and to extend Edmonton's applause at this step in your outstanding career.
Tell me more about those vibrations, will it? It is a remarkable tribute to you, Doug Rutherford, and I want to say it. When you think of how far CHED has come in 2 years, where we were and where we are at now, at the beginning, I think, of a whole new phase, because we've learned how to do it.
Well, that's right.
And the audiences have remained so loyal, and I'm sure they'll be built upon, that whatever strategy you decided on was the one that worked.
Well, we also had the secret to this kind of a format is assembling the right people. Yeah. And it's all a personality-based format, and you get the right people in place, you give them the opportunity to be successful, and they will succeed. Mm-hmm. And you were the one that got us going, and I couldn't be happier for you today. And I hope you can continue to be part of CHED, whatever way you want to be a part of CHED.
That's very gracious of you. Thank you very much indeed. And Ted, do you play golf in the rain there in Vancouver?
No, as Doug will tell you, I play golf twice a year, whether I need to or not, and that way I don't really care how badly I do.
I'm told the golfers take flight.
It sounds like you're in for a great vacation, and I want to wish you and everybody in Edmonton all the best in 96. And we'll be thinking of you, Ron, and I really hope that you do take Doug's invitation and come back and do some things for us from time time to time.
Thank you very much, Ted Smith. Ted Smith is president of the radio division of WIC, and I much appreciate what he's just said, just as I do what Doug Rutherford has said. He is our local boss here, and of course a very nice proclamation from the city of Edmonton. Honorary Ambassador. Does anything free go with that?
Well, I think you might get the odd lunch, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
Well, we people in retirement need all the freebies we can get.
I'd like to also say, if I could, just in closing this segment of the show off, I know you and Mary are heading off to Australia on an extended vacation, and you'll spend some time during that time determining just what it is you want to do. Mm-hmm. I know you want to continue your writing and so on, but when you're back in the middle of February, winter won't be over here, and after 3 or 4 more weeks, I'm sure you're going to say, gee, Australia was nice. On behalf of the staff of CHED and the management of CHED, we'd like to extend to you and Mary a trip to Palm Springs, and we'll make those arrangements for you when you get back from Australia.
Tell me that again. I want to make sure it's on the record. Palm Springs.
Debbie Mainwaring is making notes outside the window.
I heard it.
And Ted Smith heard it. And
put your hand on this book.
We'll make those arrangements when you're back from Australia.
Thank you so much indeed, and thank you, Doug, and thank you, Ted. And when we return, I guess there'll be going to be some other people too who have things to say, but I want to hear from the audience of 630 CHED. Right now, 496-0063. What has been important to you over the years? What has been done right? What did we do wrong? Tell us, share us, because all this information is going to be invaluable as the station moves to greater and greater heights. Thanks, Ted, and thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You want the NHL's best? We've got it for you. The Oilers' best games against the NHL's best teams.
Maple Leaf Metal Industries. We return to the Ron Collister Show on 630 CHED. This is the radio talk show that lets you speak up and be heard. Our phone lines are open at 496-0063. Long-distance users can call toll-free at 1-800-663-0630. If you're on a cellular, you can also call toll-free at star 630. Here's Ron Collister on 630 CHED, Alberta's information superstation.
Okay, Palm Springs, did I hear it correctly? Well, that sounds very nice, but that's still a way off. Something to be arranged while it's still winter here, I hope, so we can get the maximum benefit for it. But it has been a very good experience working with 630 CHED. And that whole experience began 2 years ago, as Doug Rutherford said, when we went on the air in a general format, heavily talk. And it seems that the loyal audiences of our CJCA days stayed with us and came over to CHED, and there is a marvelous basis for growth here now. And of course, it's going to be a different kind of a talk world. When the format works, others want to do it too. So it's going to be a different kind of competition, I think. But given the head start we have and the quality of the people we have, I think that it's always going to be very important. And when I left CJCA, and I can talk frankly about things right now, I thought about retirement then, because that was 2 years ago. But I did feel that something was happening in the talk field, and that the city might be left without a talk station, because, as you know, CJCA unfortunately was having all kinds of problems. So one of the alternatives was to have a city without a talk station. That was what drew me to it overwhelmingly, to support the concept of keeping it alive and thriving here at 630 CHED, and that, thanks to the strategists at 630 CHED rather than to me, has been a remarkable success, and talk radio is alive and well in the city, and that long may it continue. So let's take some calls from our listeners first of all. Hello, Jerry, go ahead.
Yes, Ron, I just haven't called you before, but I've certainly listened to you for years.
A first-time caller on my last day.
Yeah, there you go. I've also been asked to send best wishes for your future from Claire and Buzz and
yes, they were on one of our trips. Are they down in the in the sunshine now?
Yeah, they have the winter there 6 months of the year.
Aren't they lucky?
Yeah, I did meet you at their 40th anniversary over at Kelly's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So Claire said to make sure that I got on the phone. And
thanks very much, Jerry Fellows. Okay. Hello, Erica. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. First of all, I want to thank you very much. First of all, Ron, you and I have been chatting together on the airwaves for quite a few years now, and even if you and I didn't always agree, I have to really just let you know that I appreciate the fact that you always gave me a chance to speak, voice my opinion, and I appreciated that very much. I'm going to miss hearing you. I wish you well in your retirement and on that book that you're writing. And I don't think it'll ever be the same without you.
Well, it'll be different.
It certainly will.
and that's the way life is, though. Things are different.
Well, life goes on, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the difference will be an important part of the continuing appeal of this station. Thanks very much, Erica. Let's take a break.
It strikes a chord. This is CHED Edmonton, 630 CHED, Alberta's information superstation.
Good morning, 6:30 CHED News to 9. I'm Bob Layton, minus 9 degrees on the way to 0, and the Alberta Federation of Labor is predicting labor trouble in the new year. President Audrey Cormack says workers are fed up with provincial cuts and will not be fooled with a few concessions made just to sweeten the pot before an election. As 6:30 CHED Scott Johnson tells us, the province says a bond is illegal.
The school board passed the idea in just one meeting. The returning students put up a $100 performance bond, and if they pass, they get the money back. The bond violates the School Act. The money can be interpreted as tuition. Scott Johnson, 630 CHED News.
If you put lots of Christmas presents on plastic, well, it'll soon be time to pay up. 630 CHED's Karen Romans has some advice.
For those who have already quit smoking and don't need to lose any weight, your resolution has to be get the finances under control. The credit card bills are just the other side of this weekend. Lynn Bowditch at the province's Consumer and Corporate Affairs Department warns against robbing Peter to pay Paul.
If you overuse credit, it's never going to balance.
The best piece of advice? Chop up the plastic or lock it away in a safety deposit box. Karen Romans reporting for 630 CHED News.
As you've been hearing, this is a very special day here at 630 CHED. Ron Collister's last broadcast as he moves on to another phase in his life. The first caller to Ron this morning was from our corporate president, Ted Smith, who told Ron that his decision to move down the dial to CHED was really the key to rebuilding this station.
Doug Rutherford and I felt that we could assemble the right group of people and turn it around. And not only did we turn it around, but we went from last place to first place in a record period of time. It was under a year. And that has to be the turnaround of the decade in Canadian radio. And Ron, you were a key part of that turnaround. The contribution that you made to the success of CHED has been really outstanding.
The station surprised Ron this morning with a trip for he and his wife Mary to Palm Springs. I'm Bob Layton for 630 CHED, Alberta's information superstation.
From the Lieutenant Governor to you, Ron. Ron, you have been a friend to all of us. We are grateful to have known you and wish you the best in your retirement.
Hi, Ron. This is Mayor Bill Smith. I really don't believe you're retiring, but listen, after 40 years, you've earned it. Just when I became mayor, you're quitting. Anyway, I know you won't quit, Ron. Take a little time off, rest a little bit, enjoy your retirement. You've worked hard, you've earned it.
Okay, well, my decision has nothing to do with you becoming Mayor, Bill. I just want you to know that. I think you're a very cheerful addition and an effective addition to the municipal scene. And I think maybe some of the voters will be giving you awards at the end of your first three-year term. But anyway, let's not get into politics, because I'm not here to talk about politics today. I just want to talk to our audience and others and say what a gas it's been and how good life is going to continue to be. And part of it, of course, is the team spirit that's always existed at this station, certainly since most of us moved over from CJCA, where we had known each other well for a long time, too. And now I'm joined in the studio by our morning team, our irrepressible.
Ooh, is that good?
Good word. Yeah,
I'm not sure. We don't use big words like that in the morning.
I'm nodding off now, Ron. So,
Okay, well, I'm not going to get you to nod off. So that, of course, you recognize Gord. And Gord, what have you got to say?
Well, I just wanted to, I made some comments this morning in my appearance on First News at ITV that I was at CJCA, of course, when you started there in 1978. I can
How
remember.
much older than me? Are you in retire?
No, I still got a day or two to go, Ron. I got 2 young kids to take care of.
Yeah, really?
But I remember when you started your open line career at CJCA, and then there were many, interesting moments over the years. I can recall visits by prime ministers where there'd be bomb-sniffing dogs coming into the building, guys up on buildings across the street, and it was, very, very interesting. But the one that I recalled with perhaps a great deal of glee this morning was the night of our staff party of 1979, Christmas 1979, when the staff used to get together down at the Westin Hotel up in the Crown Suite, the Royal Suite. And we were all sitting up there having a gay old time, and there was a non-confidence vote in the House of Commons.
There certainly was.
And you were sitting there like the
with Bill Matheson, the other great political pundit.
the cock of the walk. Oh, this is nothing. Don't worry about this. Get me another glass of wine. And we're all getting up there having a great time. And the government was defeated. And the sheer look of panic which crossed your face, because I think at that time, were you not still the editor of The Sun?
Yes.
You had to rush back.
We rushed back to, but I wrote the editorial in The Sun in the CJCA office because I was wearing 2 hats, and I was trying to deal with 2 disasters at the same time that I'd been so wrong.
That's one of my fond memories, and I know that I don't want to take a lot of time because you have a lot of guests, and Chris wants to say something. Ron, I wish you all the best. I hope you get to write that book that you have been talking about. As I said to you on the phone this morning when we chatted at 7:15, and some of the characters that you've worked with, in addition to some of the great stories that you've had a chance to cover in your career. But really, please, get a word processor to do it. Don't do it on the old Remington. That's a little bit too much to ask out of that typewriter. I mean, that thing's been around since WW1, I think, hasn't it?
But lots of people use the old typewriters. They go to garage sales and buy them for $10 in the summer, and they last through the winter.
Those 2 fingers are going to get a big workout. This is the fastest 2-finger typer you've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you. All the best to you and Mary. Have a great vacation, Ron, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing you in the future.
Now, Chris.
Now, I came on the scene a little bit later. Of course, I am younger than many people in the building. Not very much. And
our child host.
Yes. I wish. And I remember, of course, the big build-up because I told my mom, I got a job in Edmonton. You mean the station with Ron Collister? You mean the guy from CBC, the correspondent? And she went on and on. It was like the legend had been built. And I saw you walking through the hallways. And eventually we started to hi and hello. And then that Christmas, it was another Christmas, as a matter of fact. And I thought that this great legend had all of a sudden toppled when you tried to reach the high C in Oh Holy Night. It was just horrible. You and Matty, I believe, tried to sing that every year for quite some time.
Matty let me down.
Well, apparently he was the weak.
He doesn't have the
link.
vocal range that me and Pavarotti have.
Obviously not. But again, we've had a pretty good relationship, I think, Ron, and I really do appreciate knowing you, and it's been a joy. And have fun, you and Mary. I know you will.
And what I really want to say too is continued success to both of you, because you've built a heck of a foundation for a heck of a station.
Thank you.
And I think that you build on this now, and who knows where it all leads. It can only go up.
Hopefully 50 years.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
As I say.
Terrific.
I got a few years ahead to pay some bills here. So. Mr. Rutherford's in such a giving mood today, perhaps we can,
Here's a trip to the door, Gord.
Yes, I hope you enjoy the Duke in February.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a Castlemaine's for me when you're down under or something. Will you, Ron?
What's that?
A Castlemaine's or something like that. A 3X or whatever.
Yeah, I'll think of you both, but very briefly.
All the best.
Okay, Chris, and thank you, Gord, for dropping by and saying those nice things, and we'll be back in a moment.
Hello, Ron. It's Chief John Lindsay, the Edmonton Police Service. We're going to miss you, but from all of the members of the EPS, I also want to just congratulate you on your retirement and wish you much future happiness, thankfully, in Edmonton. But, Ron, I'd like to especially thank you for the trust relationship which you've built with the police service, not to mention many chiefs and police officers, and you know better than most that
Policing is a critical public service, and you've supported our work and encouraged your listeners to understand policing issues, and that too, Ron, is a real public service. Speaking just for myself, I'll miss being a guest on the Ron Collister Show, but I'm also very, very happy for you. Good luck, Ron, in the future.
Thank you very much, Police Chief John Lindsay. There have been a lot of police chiefs here, and I'm sure that John Lindsay will be an exceptional one in our city as we try to deal with the problems which sometimes seem insuperable. And thank goodness there are competent people around to try and solve them. They'll never all be solved, but police chiefs are required to make the effort. And thanks again, John Lindsay. I must talk to someone one day soon to Bill Smith. I hope his figures in the city accounts are better. And it's not 40 years, it's 50 years, Bill Smith. Congratulating on 40 years. 50 years, that 50 years is very important. And it's over 50 years now. It's just over 50 years since I began in the media as a 16-year-old wet behind the ears kid, reporting on ships coming into the old port of Liverpool at the end of the war. Lots of interesting things have happened since, but I'm not here to talk about those. But it's 50 years, Bill, and thank you very much indeed for your thoughts too. Back in a moment.
Hi, Ron. This is Archbishop McNeil. Greetings. I've been a fan of yours even long before you came to Edmonton. Your knowledge and your expertise on many important matters are remarkable. And added to that is the beautiful respect and courtesy you show to your guests, your callers, your listeners. Ron, we will miss you. May your golden years be filled with joy and peace. God bless you, Ron.
And thank you very much indeed. And the respect is reciprocated. That's Archbishop Joseph McNeil, who's been in my studio from time to time talking about religious matters and as the way they affect people. And I've always had very, very good exchanges with him and lots of good information to share with our listeners. And he is a man with a good heart. I was just to recall, and I never have time to think about the past, and I don't usually think about the past. I'd like to be a contemporary thinker. But in view of this particular stage in my life, I've been trying to think about the first time I did this, the first time I did that, in case anyone asked. I suppose the first time I did any radio would have been in February 1960, when I was in Washington, D.C., and with a newspaper. I represented the old Toronto Telegram, and I used to do a little freelance radio, and of course on television I'm a graduate of black and white film. I was just telling some stories about it and the terrible pitfalls of dealing with it and the poor quality in those early days. I don't think the young people in television today can understand what an ordeal it was, and the audience was subjected to some terrible stuff. Okay, but we're all much further progressed along the road now, and the technology is just limitless, and it's marvelous to see. And the media have really come into their own. The word retirement, it's a strange word when you're involved in it yourself, because it's not really retirement. I mean, it's changing direction to do something else, because with my nature and my interests, I'll never retire. I mean, in the sense that I'll always be doing things which interest me and trying to stay in touch with what's going on in this world. And there are lots of interesting things going on. We're moving along. There are good things to be said, and I want to be around to say them. Okay, let's talk next to James Cumming of the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce. Hello, James.
Good morning, Ron.
Hi.
I just thought I'd call in to say best of luck to you, and have certainly enjoyed listening to you at the station, and your fair and I thought always balanced view with your guests. And we'll miss you, and look forward to seeing you in the community. And best of luck in your retirement, and enjoy your holiday.
Thank you very much indeed. And one thing I can say for sure, that you will be seeing me around. What I'd like to hear from listeners as we move through the show is, answers to the question, what was the most memorable show over this long period, 17 or 18 years, here and at the other station, CJCA? We're not playing competitors today, and we're just talking about talk radio and how important it is, and the programs we've done at both stations over the years. I'd like to ask people, what do they remember most about the shows that they heard? What do they think was important, and why is talk radio so important and growing, believe you me, far more important? 496-0063, and let's talk to Bill. Hello, Bill.
Good morning, Ron. How are you this morning?
I'm just so fine.
The thing I remember the most is not one of your programs. It's a call I got from a Mr. Terry Strain.
Yes?
And Mr. Strain said, would you allow Mr. Collister to come on and do a talk show on our station?
Yeah?
And I said, I'd be glad to let Mr. Collister do a talk show on your station.
Oh, I'm hearing things for the first time.
It's Bill Bagshaw.
It's Bill Bagshaw. Oh, of course, Bill. My gosh, good to hear your voice. Go ahead.
Of course, we got a little static from Toronto on that, but I reminded him of the fame that our friend Reimer had created through his exposure in other media, and you've gone on to great things. You've done a great job.
Thank you. And Bill Bagshaw, of course, was the first publisher of the Edmonton Sun, and suffered us all with great understanding as we tried to get to launch that new paper with very little expertise, except, of course, with Bagshaw, who had a lot of expertise in this community and has been here functioning at a very high level for a long time. But we were outsiders, and we came in, and we really didn't know where the buses stopped. And Bill was immensely supportive at that time. And you can look at the Sun today and see what a great success it's been. And you can say thank you to Bill Bagshaw. No, I do remember the story now, Bill. Yeah, that whether you could work for two employers.
Yeah.
I guess at one time I was working for 4.
Well, I wanted to wish you very best, and my love to Mary.
And yes, thank you very much indeed, and love to your family.
You've done a phenomenal job. You've been a great pillar of this community, and you really have added to many organizations through the work that you've done. So we've been very proud of you.
Thanks, Bill Bagshaw.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Okay, back in a moment.
Hi, Ron. This is Premier Klein. I want to wish you all the very, very best on your retirement from radio. I can tell you this, my friend. You've been an outstanding journalist throughout the course of your career, and we're all going to miss you.
Okay, and welcome back. And I don't know who's next and what lies ahead in the rest of the program. I have some names, but people from the past are calling in, and it's so nice to hear from them again. When I was asking before what programs you remember. Well, naturally, I'm in the news business, so I remember programs that make news. But I also, and this is very much part of my thinking in talk radio, remember programs that help people. And put on record stories of remarkable achievements. And I've always tried to discuss that kind of issue and topic on the program. And I remember the visit of Terry Evanson, who was the sports star, of course, who was terribly crippled and rose from it all, but with some continuing disability. And he was in the studio here for a whole half hour, and it was a remarkable performance of strength and grit and encouraging and agreeing to to do this, to help the cause of others in the same situation. And if people who've been through so much hardship can do it, surely we can do it in talk radio and in the media. We should focus far more attention on achievements, on the difficult circumstances, and that is that's a kind of subject matter that has always had particular appeal to me. On the line right now is a man who followed me a little later. He's much younger than I am. Paul Stanway, the editor-in-chief of the Edmonton Sun. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ron. Actually, it's a deal. I disguised my voice so I could get on air.
I do this one of our regular callers, and always welcome. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, well, I'm not that much younger than you these days. You were talking about memorable programs. I was thinking of a few, and the one that comes to mind, it's not that long ago, actually, was from the last provincial election, when I think it was Neil Waugh coined the phrase "the curse of Collister." It was you had on, I guess, both Ralph Klein and then Liberal leader Lawrence Decore on the show,
and they both made gaffes,
and they both put their foot in it, while they were on the show. So Neil dubbed that "the curse of Collister," which
I don't know how that happened. It was a crazy time, and I think it was the abortion issue, wasn't it? One of them. How did that kind of issue become so important in that particular discussion?
Well, it didn't until he mentioned it on your.
Then he mentioned it, and then he took. And so that was pretty wild, and I remember that. Remember that well.
Well, I wanted to call in and wish you all the best. We've known each other for, even though I'm a spring chicken, we've known each other for a lot of years, and you've been a friend and a mentor through some good times and some bad times. It was interesting to hear Bill Backshaw. I remember very clearly those the first few years of the Sun, particularly the first couple of years while you were editor. It was a real roller coaster ride.
He did a remarkable patient job, Bill did, didn't he? Given the nature of the group at that time. None of us had run a newspaper before. It was like the old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland movies. Let's go into the garage and make a show. Or let's go to Broadway. There was a lot of that sort of naivety about it. But,
I'm sure.
But the spirit was just tremendous, and the value of that kind of upbeat spirit is evident today in the success of the Sun. And it's quite a story too. And we're talking about great stories today, like the success of CHED. Well, the Sun is up there in that category as well.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that that we really did start it on a wing and a prayer, and there wasn't a lot of expertise apart from yourself and one or two others around the newsroom. Most of us didn't know much about starting a newspaper and didn't have much in the way of resources, and started from scratch, and here we are. I believe next April will be our 18th birthday, so we should remind everybody that you're not disappearing from the pages of the Sun.
I'm not disappearing. No, that's right. My columns will continue there, and I'll be visible in the city doing other things, which I haven't decided which ones I'll do yet. I'll do that when I come back from my holiday. But life will go on in a different form, along a different road, and that's what life's all about, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. Yeah, I wanted to call you this morning and wish you all the best to you and Mary from all your friends at the Sun, and I'm sure whatever you go on to next will be just as huge a success as everything else you've touched. You really have the Midas touch.
Not for money, though.
Well, no, but in this business, in our business, you certainly do.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, and may the sun always shine.
Okay, take care, Ron.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Back in a moment.
Hi, Ron. This is Ann McClellan, and I just wanted to extend my very best wishes to you on the occasion of your retirement. I'm sure that you're not really going to retire, and therefore you and I will have lots of opportunities over the coming months to talk about and continue to talk about the state of the nation. Let me say that I've really enjoyed being on your show over the past 2 years. I think you give talk radio a good name, and I think you deal with very important issues of concern to Albertans every day, but you do so with tolerance, balance, and I think most importantly, civility. So all the best to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Thank you very much indeed, Anne McClellan. She is, of course, the Minister of Natural Resources in Ottawa and an MP from Edmonton. Now, Bill Smith is with us, and he wants to correct something. Maybe he wants to correct his figures. I don't know. It's 50 years, not 40, Bill.
Well,
it's a badge of honor.
Well, listen, I just heard Anne McClellan speak, and of course, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to follow somebody like Anne McClellan. But Ron, listen, we're going to miss you. And I hope that you won't be very far away, and I'm sure Mary will be glad to have you around the house, but maybe she won't as much. But Ron, listen, I wanted to say on behalf of the council and the city, you are a great asset to the city, and CHED, the listeners out there are going to miss you. So don't be too far away. And as I've said to you before, is that I really hope you'll do some specials every once in a while, because I think you can really add something to the city. So I'd really encourage you to maybe quarterly have a Ron Collister special. I think it'd be terrific.
You're signing me up for new work already, but it's a good idea.
Well, listen, I know that you like to work, and so do I, and so I know you're going to go on a bit of a trip. So when you get back, I'm sure the producers over at CHED there will be glad to have you going. And don't be a stranger, Ron. And if you have any ideas, give me a call. I'm as close as the telephone, and keep in touch.
Well, you know, Mayor Smith, I'm intrigued by what it says on the proclamation. I'm wondering how much time I'm going to have on my hands. I'm committed to be an honorary ambassador. Is this a round-the-clock job you have in mind?
Every waking moment, Ron. Listen, I know you do that anyway, so I don't have to ask you or anything like that. I know for sure that that's what you're doing continually, and you've been a great ambassador for Edmonton. And in my official capacity as mayor, I want to thank you for that, Ron.
Thank you very much, Bill Smith, and the best to you.
Okay, and a happy New Year to you and Mary.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's take a break. 496-0063, that's the number. Speak up and be heard. What has been memorable to you in talk radio? I suppose specifically on my show at CJCA and here at CHED in the past 18 years. What do you remember most? And how do you rate talk radio? I mean, it is still controversial, but I think a lot of the criticism comes from other elements of the media. We're a very competitive group. I think that we probably serve people as well as most elements of the media do, and we serve them probably better in some ways. Back in a moment.
Hi, Ron. It's Peter Pocklington. Really sorry to see you retiring. I guess you need a little more time for your good wife, but we're all going to miss you. Your programs have been sensational over the years, and you're one of the few with a good conservative voice. So have fun in retirement, and don't get too far away.
Okay, one story I remember well about Peter Pocklington, and of course there are many stories we all remember, but at the time of the Gaynors strike, we tried to settle it on the air at CJCA, that's where I was located then. And we had the union man on one line, and we had Peter Pocklington on the other line, and we conferenced them. And I was asking, about their differences and what the chances were of coming together, and what were the points that might bring them together, and all the rest of it. And as a result of that, they agreed to have another meeting and to resume talks. I think it was about 48 hours later. But unfortunately, it all blew up again, so all my efforts were wasted. But nevertheless, it was something that I tried, and it might have worked, and the whole Gaynor story might have had a different outcome. Who knows? Okay, 496-0063. One guy who, when he comes in the studio, well, we have to turn up the air conditioning afterwards because he really sets people on fire, is Pierre Berton, and he's with us right now. Hello, Pierre.
Hi,
Hi, Ron.
Yeah, that was quite a performance the last time you were here. People are still talking about it.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. But are you really hanging up your gloves?
Just for the daily program. I'm going to do other things. And I'm not sure what they are yet, but I just want to clear my head so I can think about it.
I don't know how you did it. That's a lot of work.
17, 18 years. But you did it. You did it at CFRB, didn't you?
Yeah, for 14 years.
Yeah. What's your recommendation?
Well, I only did 5 minutes. That's my recommendation. You did it in 2 or 3 hours. My recommendation is do less for more money.
Do less for more money.
That's the secret of retirement.
And does it work for you?
Yeah.
Well, you write 2 books a year now?
Well, I have 2 this year, but not every year, though.
How long does it take to write a book?
Usually takes 2 years.
To write one book?
Well, research is 1 year, and the actual writing is a year, yeah.
Yeah. I've never asked an author this, because I never wanted to offend friends, but do you make a lot of money out of books?
Well, you do if they're big sellers. Most of my books have made quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Even though, you pay an agent 15%, I pay my researcher 33 1/3%, and I pay the tax people 50%.
Yeah.
This doesn't count the help I get secretarially, but I wouldn't say that I did it for money, but it's nice to make money.
Yeah. What's your advice for someone who has decided to change direction in life?
It depends on their age.
Pardon?
To change their what in life?
Change their direction. Like we all do it. You did it. You left CFRB.
Yeah, I've done it.
You left, and I've done it several times too. In fact, that seems to be the nature of our lives, isn't it?
My recommendation is to do it every 10 years within a general field of interest. I wouldn't say an engineer should quit everything and become a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
But within that field of interest, I think it's a good thing to change every 10 years. It keeps you young, keeps you alive, keeps you thinking, keeps you on the toes.
I think Clyde Wells analysis, he's absolutely right. He used to say change is the only security, but it's more than that. Change is the only road to growth.
Yep.
I think you've got to keep testing yourself and trying new things.
Yeah, well, I've run the gamut, and so have you.
Yes, so we have, yeah. Well, Pierre, we'll get together under other circumstances when you're passing through. We meet in the oddest places. I think we met on a cruise ship once, didn't we?
We might do it again.
We might do it again. Thanks very much.
Talk to you, and happy retirements, whatever that may be.
Whatever that may be, yeah.
Okay, Ron.
Thanks very much. That's Pierre Berton. I mean, he has people, furious when he comes on the show with some of his what they call central Canadian views. But nevertheless, all these views are honestly held, and we don't speak up forcefully enough maybe these days, and we should. This is our country. This is our society, and we don't want things to happen because we're quiet and we sit on our hands and we don't do anything about it. Take positions and let democracy have its say. Okay, we're going to take a short break for the news now and find out what's happening outside in the big world. And then, as we still have a full board of calls and more coming in, we'll take your calls for the rest of the show. And let's see what you really feel about talk radio.
This is CHED Edmonton, 630 CHED, Alberta's information superstation.
Good morning, 6:30 CHED News to 10 o'clock. I'm Eileen Bell. It's minus 10 degrees, heading to 0. Special programming underway here today on 6:30 CHED as friends from across the country say goodbye to Edmonton broadcast legend Ron Collister. Ron is leaving talk radio after 18 years as Edmonton's top talk show host, almost 50 years as a journalist. First to say goodbye on today's show was CHED General Manager Doug Rutherford, remembering how he hired Ron away to work with us all.
Ron and I began meeting at the high-level diner, if you recall.
We're all plots ahead.
That's right. That was in late August of 1993. I was able to announce the format change on September 7th, and the only person I could announce as part of that format change was that you were joining us.
But I wasn't free legally to join you.
Until December 1, which is why we didn't launch our new format until December 1st of 1993, because that's when you were available. And and you created the foundation for which we could build a radio station.
More farewells to Ron as the morning continues.
And now, the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Jean Chretien.
I understand, Ron, that it's going to be your last day on the job today. You've been a very good journalist and a very pleasant one for 50 years. Of course, everybody makes a mistake in life, so you ran for the Tories, but we forgive you for that very easily. And we would like to offer you our best wishes for a happy retirement and hope to have the occasion to see you again. You've done very well, so you need to be congratulated, and I'm happy to do so. Thank you and good luck.
Okay, and thank you, Prime Minister. That was very nice. He, of course, did his first talk show after being elected Prime Minister in the studio at 6:30 CHED, and it was carried live across the country on radio and television at that time. Made a few headlines. I think he made a few statements that he had not yet at that time learned to avoid, as some politicians do, of course. But he's an admirable man, and I appreciate what he has just said, and including the joke. It's funny, you know. I've been in journalism 50 years, and I tried politics for 8 weeks, and people still refer to me in stories as a former Conservative candidate. What about the 50 years? What's this, cold turkey? So, but anyway, it was nice to hear from the Prime Minister in that way, and let's hope he has a lot of success in '96 too in dealing with the problems of the country. 6